So the next presentation is from the amazing team from BMW. Ralf Waltram is the VP of IT for R&D, and in 5 days he will become the VP of IT for production. He's presenting with Christoph Brinck, who is the VP of IT governance. Over the last 3 years, they have been on a tireless journey to modernize the ways of working across all of BMW. I met them last year here at DevOps Enterprise London, and when they told me about what they've been able to achieve, I knew that this was a talk that everyone needed to see. I think the quote that best sets the stage for what they've done is this: "The work that we are doing is responsible for the biggest change to how BMW does business in the last 20 years." So with that, roll video.
The future of driving. Nothing to be afraid of. Because we're working on safer cars for a safer tomorrow. With large-scale data-driven development. At the BMW Autonomous Driving Campus.
Yeah, welcome to our short talk about a huge change in our organization, which is, by the way, also nothing to be afraid of, like autonomous driving too. I'm Christoph. I joined BMW now almost 20 years ago as a software engineer, and after having several roles in business and IT, I'm now heading the IT governance, which includes strategy, architecture, technology, cybersecurity, and that's why I'm here today. I'm supporting the Agile transformation to BizDevOps for the IT and for the whole organization. Today I'm here with Ralf.
Yeah, I'm Ralf. As Gene mentioned, I'm VP for the IT with my team for research and development for 5 days, and afterwards I will be for production. And as you saw in the video, large data-driven development, yeah, this is an awesome thing to do in a DevOps environment. But we cover this later on. I'm also more than 20 years with BMW doing DevOps. And we love to share with you our story about 100% Agile and becoming DevOps. But before, we would like to start with some facts about BMW. I hope a lot of you are driving BMWs, and not you should go to a dealer next to you and check it out, please. Last year, we sold more than 2.5 million cars to happy customers. But BMW is changing from a world-class premium car producer, manufacturer, towards a mobility provider. We are absolutely happy that more than 12 million cars are shared, are connected via our connected drive backend. We bring services to our cars like real-time traffic information, news, online entertainment, but also give you the chance with the mobile app to stay in contact with your BMW whenever, wherever you want. But as Harald Krüger, our CEO, stated out, the change is going on. And we want to become the leading tech company for premium mobility, as you saw with the development, for example, for autonomous driving. And you can imagine you need a lot of IT people for that. And Christoph will tell us how IT is organized at BMW.
Yes, short look on IT. We have two main areas of IT in the company. One is called Connected Company. This includes in-car IT, all the lines of code being inside the car, and the backend surrounding the connected cars. And then there's the BMW Group IT, where the CIO lives, and us too, we are living there. And we are serving every business process in the company, from HR, finance, to sales, after sales, engineering, production of cars, so on and so forth. We are spread around the world. We are now over 5,500 people in the Group IT in 29 countries. The main places are, of course, Munich, then South Africa, a DevOps hub, in Portugal, a DevOps hub, in Americas, a DevOps hub, and then, of course, we are placed in many other places in the plants, in the sales, in the regions organizations. What is quite important to understand our journey of agile transformation is that, of course, we have a brown field of technology. We have around 4,500 applications up and running, actually, in almost every technology you can imagine. Yeah. Having set the scene a little bit, let us come to the why. Why did we find out that we have to change something? Our working model as a Group IT was very clear. It was described in hundreds or thousands of pages, a so-called ITPM, IT process model, a waterfall model, including 40 roles solely for IT, most of them ending with the manager, by the way. We were used to deliver in large projects. Almost we already knew that the so-called smaller project maintenance is much more efficient than the other ones, but we were used to do it. We were used to deliver in a waterfall model, and to be honest, it was plan-driven, but it was not always following a plan, as you might have experienced in the past too. And of course, putting together all these things, putting together applications which have dependencies, led us to release weekends from Friday 12 o'clock to Monday 6 o'clock with a 24/7 operations mode. And nevertheless, we had a IT governance setting up a bunch of rules and guidelines that only a few people stick to or even knew about. So that was the time before 2016, and yeah, you will see that something had to change, Ralf.
Definitely. I was many years project leader at BMW, an IT project, and as you saw before, it's not always fun to surf on big waves. You get washed out heavily. And so we said 2 years ago, hey, something had to change. In times of digitalization, in times of new technologies, we have to get more flexible, we have to gain speed, and we should put more our customer internally as also externally in the focus. Not always plan-driven, value-driven. We want to deliver good things to our customers. And the answer at that time, 2 years ago, within BMW was we are a bi-model IT, two-speed IT. We do waterfall and we do Agile. 20% of the dev teams already worked in Agile and 80% are working in waterfall. And guess what? This was not the right thing. We said our answer must be 100% Agile. And why? Having two speeds means also you have two cultures in a company, and that's not easy to handle. We thought it's better to give a direction to 100% Agile. It's a vision. It's not a one day off. It's not that you give everybody a book about Agile, reading over the weekend, and then you all 100% Agile. This is not working. And the second thing was we saw that the Agile teams were blocked out by the waterfall people because we had 2 big releases per year. And yeah, the Agile teams could release every 2 weeks, but they had to wait for the waterfall colleagues. And that's why we said our answer is 100% Agile. And we started 2.5 years to go this direction of transformation. And this is how we did it. It's not only about the process. For sure, we started with the process, getting Agile, trying to bring Agile methodologies to the teams and try things out. But it's also that we changed our structure. Before, we were separated in dev and ops team, and we decided to change our organization towards a DevOps organization and bring the teams together on lowest possible level, on the team level, dev and ops together. But also changing, we covered this later on, going to a product portfolio. And as Christoph said, we have a huge legacy landscape, and we saw that big monolithic systems are not very easy to handle in an agile way. That's why we went also to try new technologies, to work out microservice architectures and also cloud-based architectures. And last but not least, and for me the most important point, it's all about culture. You need for an agile way a different culture. Openness, transparency, everydayness in a stand-up, being open to your teams. This was a massive factor, and we invested a lot, many workshops with the teams, with the leaders, to become in an agile way of working to go this way, and this journey is not over. We started 2.5 years, and it's not a straight path. And I like this quote. If the path before you is clear, you're probably on someone else. So it's not that you copy the way of how Spotify is working. You have to find your own way. You have to put your own hand on the hot plate.
But you can
to
take
find
a close
out.
look on it.
You can, okay. We picked out today 4 points, cornerstones of our agile journey. We picked out DevOps products portfolio, agile working model, and back to code and user experience. And Christoph, you will start with the BizDevOps product portfolio.
Right. I think it's the most important slide we have in terms of BizDevOps project portfolio. We have identified that 100% agile definitely means the end of projects, because projects naturally lead to a wall of confusion. You all know that, between projects and operations, and we had to get rid of that. But furthermore, we identified that we have a second wall between business and development. And we tried to break down these walls, both of these walls in one step. And that's why we decided to go completely into a product world, to bring together Biz, Dev, and Ops, which is not an organizational, an org chart organizational part of the model. It's a working model, how we are working together. We were able to break down, and still are breaking down, silos in terms of doing that. I think the most important point for that is that we were able to change the funding. Further, in the past, we were funding projects on the one side and operations on the other side. And since 1st of January this year, we were able to convince our board of directors and the controlling, which is quite more heavily, to change the funding, so the accounting, to product-oriented model. So almost 70% of our budget are now funded in products, and the rest in so-called initiatives, because we want to avoid the term projects for the next years, in order not to fall back into a project model. So the so-called initiatives are only there for coordinating the development in the products. All development is taking, or is done in the product world. We then, of course, trained the product owners, trained the so-called domain owners. I have to explain domain a little bit. We have now around 200 products to cover all our 4,500 applications in order to help our business processes to grow. And we combined it to so-called domains, process domains, which we steer actually with OKRs. That's the actual status where we are going to. Yeah. On the way to that product portfolio, we identified another opportunity we were not aware of in front of that. In the past, we were steering projects on the entity project, applications on the entity application, and operations on entities like fixed groups or something like that. And there was a new opportunity to bring all that things together, to bring all facts and numbers, all figures together to a product portfolio which we set up. And we built our own tool, and we're still evolving it, where we can really have a product portfolio, be it a look on the Jira backlog, be it a look on the risks we are taking with that product, of how is that product used, or is it used at all, on the budgeting, on quality, and of course also on cybersecurity risks and all these things. We are still evolving that, but it's a thing that helps us a lot in coming to a real product portfolio steering, coming away from a project steering. Yeah, having set the scene for the product management, the structures, how do we really work together, Ralf? Can you explain that a little bit?
Here we defined our agile working model at BMW, and it was very important, like Christoph said, that we focused on the feature team level to give them agile bandwidth. We didn't say, hey, you have all to use Scrum. It's fine to start with Kanban, with Scrum, Scrumban, going up until scaled frameworks. We also leverage synergies between the products on the product level and even higher on domain or initiative level. Like Christoph said, we want lean synchronization. Decouple first, and where it's necessary, we synchronize it. We defined our own working model. It's not a textbook, it's a living system where our team's contributing, and Christoph mentioned before our 40 roles. Now we have 4 roles. It's feature team, it's product owner, it's Agile master, and the line manager. And they are all contributing to this Agile working model. So it's inspect and adapt. If something is wrong, we put it in or we throw it out. And what's also important here, it's supported by an Agile tool chain. You need the right tool set and technology to support the team. And I'm very happy, when we started 2 years ago, my idea was that we create a tool chain for 8,000 people. Finally, last month, we had reached our 30,000 users on the Agile tool chain, which is awesome because all the teams like to work with this tool chain and gathering together the experience with our Agile working model. So Christoph, now we know what is our structure from portfolio, how we work. What's next?
Yes, back to code. Here on the front, and not like the Adidas colleagues on the back, we have it on the front. Back to code. What does that mean? One thing is very clear. You won't be successful if your core competence is project management and the software engineering competence is with your external partners. That will not work.
That's not a good idea.
That does not work in a waterfall model, but that does not work at all in an Agile model. So we identified, okay, we have to define software engineering as a core competence. That's why we went to the board and asked for headcount. Please give us more people. They said, okay, yes, a little bit. I give you some 1,000 or 1,200. But how to achieve that in a short time, how to ramp up, how to get that done. What we did then is we tried to find a partner, and we found a very good partner. We found a partner in Portugal, the critical software company, and we founded a joint venture in September last year, and now we are already 400 software developers, DevOps developers, DevOps engineers in Portugal. But that's not the last thing we are doing. That's one very important more thing. We have software engineers in our departments, but they do not develop software anymore, but there's a chance to redevelop them. And that's why we started the Back to Code campus. It's a 3-month full-time training. We pick out the people, the former developers in their actual teams. You retrain them to the newest technologies and then put them back, but to another team for sure, in order to not get them back to the old steering tasks they did before. And the third very important thing we did is we set up a much better developer experience, and that's something which is really, really important. We set up a new developers workplace with a cool tool set. We set up a community, and we made it just more attractive to be a software engineer at BMW. Because this is the problem. If you want to have and want to keep the good developers, of course you have to be attractive for that. Yeah, and for the rest, of course, coming from a 25% software engineering competence, you will never come to 100% in a few months or years. So for the rest, we set up a project called DevOps sourcing, and that makes the working between internal development teams, feature teams, and external development feature teams much easier. Getting offers, have long-time relations to our partners, and have a very easy model to interact between the internal and external
and we learned also from our external partners. We had great workshops with them, a very open and transparent discussion with them, and we learned also from them because also our partners, they are dealing with Agile, with DevOps. It was a great exchange on that, so I'm very happy that we are going this way with DevOps sourcing.
Absolutely. Yeah, coming from the developer experience, there's one thing missing. After developer experience, there is user experience.
There's user experience, and we have 2 examples of great tools at BMW with us. Most of you, how many of you have mainframes still in their legacy landscape? A lot of them. So you know the dark mode. It's becoming more modern, but the problem is still that the user experience is still from the old time. And we have a lot of systems from experts for experts. The training takes weeks. And if you are trained, it still doesn't make fun to work with these tools. There is no joy at all. And I think most of you experience this every day in your company too. That's why we said with 100% Agile, hey, something must change. If we want to become more user-centric, we should put also the user in the center and the user interface. Because a user interface is like a joke. If you have to explain it, it's probably not a good one. And so we are focusing since 2 years on user experience. We tell the product owner, user experience matters. Don't put your money all to new cool features, which your experts need twice a year. Put your money into easy, intuitive environments, workflows, interfaces, and also in mobile structures. It's easy to write it down on a PowerPoint, but guess what? It's not so easy to understand. And I'm absolutely proud that we created a space, 500 square meters, where we can show the teams user-centered design. Here you see the layout of the space behind me, and here you see it in action. And we celebrated this month our first anniversary. And it's awesome. It's phenomenal feedback from the user team. It's an open door philosophy. Get in and you get help. It's easy access to you experts. It's a different skill set. And I'm proud that more than 80 teams already used it heavily and changed their products. And the users really love their products. And we put the real user into the focus, not the expert user. And that helps a lot. Ask your real user about the user experience, and you get the real feedback about that. So, but after now our cornerstones we showed, Christoph, what is the feedback overall from the business?
Yeah, let's take a short look on it. And we've sorted out the bad ones for sure, but I think there are some important things on it. And I love the one in the middle, to be honest. I've never experienced bugs being fixed or new requirements being implemented so fast. And that's someone from the business who says that about the IT organization, which was really new for us, this kind of feedback. So we have invested in speed, in cycle time, and we get feedback in terms of speed and cycle time. But much more important for me personally is the right one, the one mission thing. This faces the flexibility issue. We were facing real challenges with the WLTP regulations. This is CO2 emission regulations, which change really monthly, the regulations. And our initiative, the process owner, stated that only adapting the Agile was the only way to get rid of that problem. And that's really an honor for us to get such kind of feedback in terms of flexibility. And that's the target we have.
It was one of the OEMs of automotive companies who really could offer right away all our product setup. And this was really, really a great thing we did. And the team was really encouraged to reach this. But as you say, it was only possible with the Agile way of working.
Well, what's the success factors of our strategy?
We covered it here, and first of all, it was self-organized. We didn't hire a high-paid consultant from outside showing us fancy slides and telling us how Agile is working. We did it by our own. The leadership team, a small team, started becoming more and more, and with the right people, the willing people. They wanted to change really the way of working at BMW. Stick to your vision. 100% Agile is still our vision. We always tell it's a journey. It's not over. We did great things in the past. It was a winding road, yes, but stick to your vision. It's not easy, but you will reach it. And last but not least, Christoph mentioned it before, to me it was in the beginning not so clear. I was focusing more on DevOps. But it was crucial for us that we started very early to do BizDevOps. To go to our business partner, talk to them about the change of how we work, because otherwise you are the crazy IT guys doing Agile, and Now, together, it's really all of us are sitting in the same boat when doing
Which is not the
BizDevOps.
easy way, to be honest. Which is not the easy way to
not
do it,
easy.
but it's for
Definitely.
us, it's the better way.
Yeah. That was our success factors. And as I mentioned, it's a journey, it's not over. And what's next?
That's where you might help us.
Huh?
That's where you might help us.
Yeah, definitely. So we are asking here for your help, for your exchange or exchange with you. A lot of hashtags, and this is how we transport the messages to our teams. I want to pick out one, hashtag transformers. As I mentioned, BizDevOps, it's a transformation started in the IT, but is now taking really the whole business, IT, and business partners at BMW into the transformation, and we are going on with that.
Yeah.
And it's a massive change. It's the biggest change we had in the last 20 years in IT, I encountered. And it is good change because we changed from a cost factor to a real enabler, to transformer to the whole company. And a second one I would like to pick out, it's hashtag 50 releases per day. It sounds funny. Do I really have to make 50 releases per day? But we stress our teams. We ask them to think about it because when you are able to do it, it's so much easier to release software. You have to invest a lot into changing how you work in your CI/CD pipeline, especially testing. And the internal phrase to reach this is "Viva la automación." So we put a lot into automation to really achieve this goal, 50 releases per day. Christoph, what are the two things from your side for them? What are the new next things for you?
For me, the most important thing is the DevOps platform. We have to get rid of our brownfield technology. But we don't have 2 or 3 billion to invest in the next 5 years just to rebuild the old thing. So if someone has any good idea, tomorrow, Ralf will be here tomorrow. So
yeah, and you will find me with this jacket you see.
Come into contact. We know that, and we heard it from the Adidas colleagues this morning, there are some people which are quite far with the DevOps platform. We are very, very interested in discussions about that because we really have to catch up time that. And the second one is the API first thing. How do we convince our product owners, our feature teams, our developers of publishing APIs, be it internal or be it publicly? That's really a concern I have, and really where we could need help and we could have input from your side. How do we do that in such a huge company? That's I think our targets for the next 1 or 2 years where our journey brings us to. Yes, and if you should have fallen asleep the last 25 minutes, there's the 5 key takeaways you can, if you want, you can take home with you. Be bold when you start your journey, but start small. Our vision was very, very far away from what we had at that point of time, 2016. And we started in small blocks, and then we scaled it up. That's an advice I can give. Be bold, very bold, but start in small things. Ralf, what's next?
We always talk about the journey, and it sounds so great, but it's not a 5-star wellness cruise. Definitely not. There will become rough water, but the good thing is you can react very fast in these terms if you have a good team, and this is the message to you from me.
Yeah, and use the Agile way in the transformation, inspect and adapt. We have changed so many things in the last 3 and 4 years and changed ever and ever, over and over. And to be honest, that's a very hard way of learning in an organization that has the motto, first time right. And we all had to learn. We still are learning that inspect and adapt motto, and it's very, very hard to implement, but I really stick with it and I really love it because it helps us a lot of finding the right way forward.
And last but not least, learn from other journeys. And Jean mentioned it. Last year, I met the colleagues from Adidas. We right away got together. We had a great exchange. So 50 people of Adidas came to us, to Munich.
The huge bus.
The huge bus. We had a great World Cafe about agile transformation. And afterwards, we had a great exchange about the DevOps platform, about cloud services, and so on. And the exchange doesn't stop. That's a good thing. And I hope I meet tomorrow a lot of people, a lot of colleagues here to share our journey and to get in contact.
And always, don't forget, enjoy IT. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Thanks.
Hey, thank you. I was able to find a picture for my wife, so I want to show you something. So when you shared that incredibly scary movie about autonomous driving, it actually reminded me of something that even more scary that happened to me, but exactly in reverse, in our X5. 3 years ago, I had my 6-year-old twins in the back of my car, and I had to drop off like a birthday cake to someone's house. I left the engine running just to drop it off. I come back and I look in the back seat to say hi to my twins, and they're gone. And I'm like, where could they be? Because I'm wondering, I have to explain to my wife, I've lost the kids. So then I look in the front seat of the car, and what I see is even scarier. What I see is this. The more mischievous of the twins had crawled into the driver's seat and was actually moving the steering wheel, moving the cars, and I'm just praying that there's no way they could reach the brakes and move the car into park or reverse.
It's the right car.
It is the right car.
That's important.
Superb engineering. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Thanks.